गुड मॉर्निंग डॉक्टर अग्रवाल।
हेलो, हाउ आर यू मैडम?
मैं ठीक हूँ सर। एक क्वेश्चन है आपसे।
I'll just start and then we ask. Hello everybody, we are live on social media. So welcome on our 39th regular meeting, non-stop meeting of a roundtable of Healthcare Foundation of India, supported by many other organizations. So today I will ask Dr. Jayakrishan to chair this meeting. And we'll start with Upasana ji. She had some question.
Sir, you are presenting data for different countries, but I am wondering what is happening in South Africa.
Okay. So the question which is coming, I'll start from there in South Africa.
Ji sir.
So I'll show some slides. So I'll pick up South Africa. So this is the graph of South Africa. You can see there is a certain spurt of cases in the last 1 month. This is a sudden spurt of cases in South Africa. Now we go back to another slide. So two countries, the south of England and south of Africa are showing two different variants of the virus. This is the this is the first virus which has been detected in. This virus has been detected in England, east of England and south of England. This is called N501Y virus, which means that on 501st gene, asparagine has been replaced by a tyrosine, and 269th number and 79th gene has been deleted, which is histidine and valine. And the virus unique number is 2020. December means 12. 01 means the first strain. Similarly, there is now another mutant variant in South Africa, which is also 501 V2 variant. They are still to get the details of the genetic amino acid involved, but they are also calling it as 501 V2 variant. And they say it also contains 3 gene mutation. So there are lots of similarities between the two, but there are dissimilarities also. So both of these vaccines, both these mutations in New York and in south of England are highly contagious, producing more infections, less mortality. So there is a sudden spurt of cases in South Africa. Similarly, there are sudden spurt of cases in east and south of in England, and both of them are new variants. So after 614 D614G mutation, now we are having 501 amino acid in RBD section of the spike protein of coronavirus. Two variants have occurred in the 501 gene. That is what the situation is. Upasana ji.
Sir, thank you so much. It's a quite enlightening thing because
so this mutation is causing lots of this mutation is causing lots of antigenicity
जी.
but less mortality. So this was expected to occur. Normally, now we have to remember three genes, 614 gene and 501. 501 with one variant in England, one variant in South Africa. So I just spoke to South African president in the morning, and she has sent me all the literature of the South African variant. If you want, I can present them. I mean, I have all the details sent by in the morning, we had a long discussion with her, the president of South African president. She's a part of our morning group, of which we have, she's a part of our morning group on Saturday morning when we all our countries we decide. So if you want, I can share some of the materials.
Sir,
Can I come in, Dr. Agarwal?
Yes, please.
Actually, this is my opinion. This is a very interesting virus because it has high antigenicity, but the mortality is low. So I don't know, but maybe people in the future would think of using this as a vaccine virus, because wherever the antigenicity is good, that means it is going to provoke more immune response. And if there is less of fatality, this is a positive sign. So this is my view that such type of viruses are usually picked up. And this type of variation is going to happen with the COVID-19. We cannot do anything about these RNA viruses. They lack proofreading ability. So every time the proof will not be exactly the replica of the mother virus. It's just my opinion. I thought I'll just share it.
So this virus, they say there is a difference between variant and new strain. So all of us who are not microbiologists or in that field immunologists, for them we must understand this virus is not a new strain. This is a new variant with a single gene mutation or a three gene mutation. Up till now, we were handling single gene mutation in 614 amino acid in the receptor binding domain of spike protein of the virus. And now we are having three gene mutation. The details of the first gene in South England has come. The South African genes involved, the amino acid involved is still lacking, it's not available. So I've written to the South African president to give us the details of the amino acid. There are more than 1,000 variations which have come. Only three of them have been of significance of late. One was 614G, which has now replaced 90% of the cases. Now, the important thing is this can still cause reinfections. Am I correct, Madam Anita ji, that for reinfections can come with a new strain? And this can become prevalent all over the world. So one of that gene, either from one of that virus now will become predominant, will replace 614G mutation. Yes, I'll ask Dr. Jayakrishan. He is on the chair today. So after, Sunila, you want to add for the new variants coming seen in England and in South Africa?
Right now, no, I'm just listening. Yeah, right
Okay.
now, no. But
So I want to
I
present.
agree with your point that it has undergone.
So I want to present something what we expect from the government. This is a CDC have given this presentation day before yesterday for all the doctors. This has been posted to all the doctors in America about Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine by the CDC. So every doctor has received it. Similarly, we should write to, we expect the DCGI to make a statement like this and put it on their website or send it to all the doctors. This is everything about Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. I'll give a 10 minutes presentation. This is, it is used for people who are 16 age group plus. It is not new, rigorously tested, do not contain a live virus, does not affect or interact with the person's DNA. This is a common question. Will the vaccine, because it's a genetic vaccine, will it change my genetic nature? The answer is no. It does not enter the nucleus. So this will should give away 50% of the vaccine hesitancy. That पता नहीं क्या करेगा मेरे nucleus में घुस जाएगा. The answer is no. This is the difference between DNA and RNA vaccine. DNA vaccine enters the nucleus. RNA vaccine does not enter the nucleus. The Advisory Committee on Immunization Practice, they have recommended that it should be given to people who are 16 plus. Can I, Ritu, can you mute everybody? So administration, 2 doses, 3 weeks apart. Now, here are some minor questions, and we expect the similar questions to come in whichever vaccine is introduced in India. Administration of second dose within 4-day grace period. Instead of 21st, it can be 17th day, 18th day, 20th day, and 21st day. And they have also written, if by mistake you do not give it in 21st day, whichever day you remember, give it. No repeat dose to be given. Both doses are necessary. Interchangeability not allowed. That means Moderna and Pfizer are not interchangeable. However, if you interchange, do not repeat the third dose. So remember, so they are giving a rider everywhere. They are saying normally these two are not interchanged. However, if you give one Pfizer and another any other messenger RNA, you do not need to repeat the third dose. Co-administration with other vaccine, they say 14 days interval before or after. So it is not like flu and pneumonia, which can be given together. So they says, however, inadvertently, if it is given before, within 14 days, don't bother. No need, no, do not need. Tell the patient, don't worry. Now, this is important. Persons with a history of SARS-CoV-2 infection. So they says, give it to everybody. And they says enough data is available on this vaccine that if a person has suffered from infection in the past, do not do any viral or serological testing for acute or prior infection and give it. So that answers what Sunila has said last time, that give it to everybody, whether you are suffering or not suffering. If you are suffering 14 days, then we will come back. But if you are suffering and asymptomatic, no testing needs to be done. Then it says, person with known current SARS-CoV-2 infection, they says wait for 90 days. So if I am positive for coronavirus today, then wait for 90 days. If I have received plasma therapy or antibodies, wait for 90 days. Persons with a known course of COVID-2 exposure. Exposure means I am a close contact. Close contact means defer till your isolation is over, and then you can go ahead with it. Defer till your isolation is over. Then it talks about special precautions. They are talking about underlying medical conditions. So they say whether you are any high risk case should be given, including those that place them at increased risk of COVID-19. This is phase 2, phase 3 has taken that precautions. Immunocompromised people, HIV, other immunocompromised, unless otherwise this is may still receive, this is may, unless contraindicated. Individual should be counseled about unknown vaccine safety. He says, though the results are not clear, with counseling, you can give it to immunocompromised people. Then it says pregnant women. And the last they say is, if a healthcare worker is pregnant, it is recommended to receive a COVID-19 vaccine, even if the data is not available. They say it's not a live vaccine. They degrade quickly by normal cellular process and don't enter the nucleus of the cell. So therefore, chances of entering the fetus are not there. This is again pregnant women routine testing for pregnancy prior to receipt of COVID-19 vaccine is not recommended. Breastfeeding, lactating women, this is if a healthcare personnel is breastfeeding or lactating, she may choose to be vaccinated. Patient vaccine counseling. No vaccine is 100% safe. Therefore, pre-vaccine counseling should be done. Then says vaccine efficiency is 95%. 2 minimum vaccine needs to be taken. Public health recommendation is till you have second week, so 2 weeks after second dose, you are likely to be vaccinated. During that period, you must continue your precautions. Like what happened to Anil Vijji, the health minister of, most likely he did not take precautions, he ended up in getting an infection. Contraindications and precautions. The only contraindication is severe allergy. And they say it has to be given for with 15 to 30 minutes observation, and the kit for anaphylaxis should be ready. Then it talks about various situations where it talks about allergies, conditions. So one is proceed with vaccination. Yellow is uh, take precautions while vaccination. Third is do not vaccinate. So these are the precautions they have given. So this graph can be available to everybody. I'm going to give these slides to everybody, and all of you can use these slides. This is interpretation. Now, this is the most important thing, that how do I know I have developed antibodies? So they, number one, and after this vaccine, the RT-PCR test does not get modified. Number two, two types of antibodies are there, S antibodies and N antibodies. This virus, this vaccine will produce S antibodies and not N antibodies. So if you have S antibodies positive means either the patient has received a vaccine or he has been infected in the past. But if you get N antibodies, it means the patient has been infected in the past because it is not making N antibodies. These are the clinical resources. These are the clinical resources mean these are the references given by CDC. Over to the chair. We were talking about the question of the topic today is vaccine hesitancy. And the hesitancy of a vaccine can only be answered if you have these types of questions for every vaccine they introduce in the market. After this, if you read this Pfizer vaccine data, I think there will be no doubt in doctors and saying and answering all the questions. So similarly, if government comes out with a similar data, with a similar presentation, if the government doesn't come out, then I will make this data. So this data is sufficient to answer all queries of everybody. So I'll ask Jayakishan now to ask everybody one by one to speak out. We also welcome Dr. Jailal. Dr. Jailal is here. Jailal, today is 19th. So another 10 days and he will be the new president of Indian Medical Association.
Good morning, sir. Heart Care Foundation of India is conducting a series of webinars on COVID, and along with PIMAVO, Indian Medical Association, and all. And this series of webinars have been formulating various policies regarding COVID management. And today we have an important topic regarding vaccination and how to combat vaccine resistance. And this is a very important topic. And now vaccination is in discussion in the country, especially which vaccine will be used, when it will be timed, what type of vaccine is ideal for our people. And another thing is regarding how to administer it to all the people, which all population will be selected, all these things. And many of the discussions which should have been happened in the scientific fora are being discussed among the public, and that is causing a lot of concern to the public also regarding vaccination. And always there is a group of anti-vaccine lobby which is also playing along with this concern. So it's very important that proper education regarding the vaccine should be given to all the people. And these webinars and their recommendations will be helpful for such an endeavor. And I hope there will be a very good discussion. And I once again congratulate Dr. K.K. Agarwal, who is leading these series of CMEs in the SIMAVO, in the Indian Medical Association, and by the Heart Care Foundation. And I request each of you to express your opinion regarding this thing. I invite Dr. Jayalal, who is the incoming president of Indian Medical Association, to comment.
Thank you, Jay Krishnan and K.K. Agarwal, sir. Indeed, it is a great service. I am sure that Dr. K.K. Agarwal, our past national president, is doing. This issue is now become, I think it is hijacked by the in a political ground than on a scientific ground. Even among the medical fraternity, there are certain difference of opinion, and some apprehensions are now infused or that is developing. So now a body has to come out with open and the merits and demerits of the vaccine, and the advantages and the practical the need for the administration of the vaccine has to be formulated and come as an probably even as a dicta or some kind of resolution has to come out from a body, generalized body like Indian Medical Association, or even on a SIMAVO ground it has to become. I'm sure with that the inputs which is given by Dr. KK and other expert leaders, we realize the need for that. We realize the importance for that. And as a medical fraternity, and we have the duty to convince the community and empower the community to come forward voluntarily to take this vaccine. And equally, we need to ensure the cold chain maintenance and a proper the distribution of this vaccine is being ensured. Any drug when it's coming into the market, and especially with the fear psychosis which has created by the COVID, the black marketing, the unnecessary overview, and somebody doing it in a wrong way, all this is possible. So in all these things, we need to give a guidance to the government and guidance to the public on proper use and proper administration of this vaccine.
Yeah, Dr. Jayalal, can I come in? I'm Dr. Sunila Garg. Can I come in?
Yes,
Sure, madam. Sure, madam.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that Government of India has already come with the standard operating procedures, which talk about everything regarding the vaccine, how to give, how the vaccine will be given, how the vaccine booth will be, how we have to use the COVID app, then what are the adverse reactions, how the monitoring evaluation will be there. I was part of one of those trainings also. I will say that there are standardized PowerPoints and all that. With that, our whole of IMA fraternity can be trained, because this is a one-day training. Basically, it takes like that, and one can understand everything, primarily from looking at that. Because you see, when you talked about the cold chain vaccine and all of the vaccine, or how the vaccine will come to the particular cold chain site, or the how there will be, what are the rules of the 4 vaccine officers who are there, and the 5th one who is for the monitoring evaluation. So that is where we all will be automatically prepared. So subsequently, when this whole thing is private sector is roped in, because ultimately the government will have to rope in private sector. So I feel preparedness is more important, and it clears lots of myths and misconceptions with regard to the vaccines which are there. But in addition, what Dr. Agarwal mentioned, that we need to put in for each vaccines, like I was associated with the Serum Institute of India and AstraZeneca vaccine. So I'll share with you that presentation also. So that was in fact a detailed DD coverage, so which talks in depth from ICMR's perspective, from different people's perspective. So I can share with you that also. So That will be another important thing. But one thing which was in my mind, Dr. Agarwal, we discussed two things: that it is harmful in pregnancy, it is harmful to the fetus, and on the other hand, we are telling that the healthcare workers may be given on
No,
a
no, we are
priority
not saying
basis.
it is not. No, no, it is not harmful to the fetus. We
No,
are saying
no,
is
no, no.
the virus.
Somewhere it was there in
No,
presentation.
no.
It may lead to adverse fetus outcomes. That's
No,
what I read.
no, 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 no. It is very clear the virus does not enter into the nucleus. It is causing no harm. And the vaccine should be given to all healthcare workers who are pregnant, should consider taking it.
Then why are we avoiding in pregnancy routinely? You
No,
see,
they are talking about, they are not talking mandating it, but they are talking about healthcare workers. High risk people should take it at the moment. So they are
okay.
taking all high risk because they are specifically mentioning about the high risk. Others, they are saying data is being developed.
Okay,
So
okay.
they are differentiating two things. Data is being developed, therefore, but at the moment, high risk people like healthcare workers in the first group should be taking it, whether they are breastfeeding or not. They should be taking it. So
And I think
today in the morning in Simao meeting, we have passed a resolution, which I would feel the new president of IMA would also like to pass it tomorrow in their central working committee. And we have said is that all of us, all the medical associations are advised to have their office wearers vaccinated and project it in the media, with or without the local politicians. So all the presidents, secretaries of the local branches, state branches, national headquarters, whenever they take any vaccine, that should be projected, photographed, video taken, message taken, and projected in the social media, and with a message that vaccines are the need of the today and they are safe. So that's what we have, because we have to become, and we have to take a lead before the government asks us to do it. This can be a lead by the IMA and respective NMAs of every country, that we take a lead and we answer four things. A, none of the doctor will say, I don't know. None of the doctor will say, I am not sure about the efficacy. Everything is open. But this document, which I have shown you, everything is open about the Pfizer vaccine. Similarly, we will produce data with the help of Sunila about the vaccine which are going to be introduced in India. So all of us will speak the same language, that I'm not sure or I'm not going to take it. No doctor should say, if he doesn't want it, it's fine. That's his choice. It's not mandated. But why do you have to call to the media and say, I'm not going to take it? Because that becomes a negative statement. So each one of us needs to talk about positivity. Remember, we need only 20% of the population to get vaccinated, and by 25th of March, the problem will be over. 25th of March, I'm saying, because that's the day when the lockdown took place. 25th of March, in 1 year, the problem will be over, and Modi ji will again come back on 25th March, and we says the word pan has been replaced with en, endemic. From pandemic, now we are endemic. And that is possible if all of us start working for 3 months continuously with this effort, that it is possible to make it endemic by 25th of March in India. It may not happen in other countries. In India, you only require 20% of the vaccinations. If 20% people, I have seen people, government is planning for 30 crore vaccinations. And if they are done, we have win over the game. And every person matters. Everybody has to work onto that, because vaccine has to be given. So in India, we will have these two vaccines will also come in India in the private sector, Pfizer and Moderna.
yes,
And
yes.
these two vaccines will also come in India. And I am 100% sure in the next 10 days, DCGI will clear one of the vaccine. Because Indian politically also, you can't afford not to have a vaccine in the same year. It gives you a political mileage forever. So they will introduce first vaccine in India, and there will be a rush of vaccines in January, February, and March. If you take precautions, there is no reason, because all the statistics says that for every one patient symptomatic, there are 60 asymptomatic cases. India has crossed 1 crore today. That means we already have 60 crore people population who are got the infection. Children, we are taking them away because they are not going to be vaccinated. So we are at the verge of herd immunity. And if that's so, why should we allow the second wave to come? Second wave to come.
Can I come in, Dr. Agarwal?
Yes, Anita ji.
I'm interested to
Sure,
know
sure.
if Moderna vaccine is going to come without some amount of trial in India, because any vaccine which is being approved has to undergo some trial. And it is better if you have more people in the trial, you come to know about the disease pattern or about the protection more. So when these two vaccines come, just on the basis that the other countries are sanctioning, I have no idea, maybe someone who is there could tell me, because I've been in these vaccine panels, and the vaccines from Pfizer's and other vaccines, always they undergo some trial. Maybe not the phase 1, but it could be a club trial, phase 2, phase 3. So early coming of Moderna and Pfizer, I'm not too sure.
Two things are happening in a pandemic-like situation. One is that you can allow them a bridging trial, and you can also approve them and ask them to do a simultaneously trial. And that trial doesn't have to complete. As and when the data is available, you can go on giving it. Most of the trials universally are cutting down the numbers of their people in the third trial, the phase 3. Every company is saying, suppose I'm doing 60,000 people and my 10,000 data is available, give me a EUA based on 10,000, rest the data will come. And on the basis of UK clearing any vaccine, Indian regulators can give it on the basis of UK. So all those drugs, say remdesivir trial never took place in India. It was given on the basis of the UK. So there are situations where India can give. In any way, India is not going to buy it. They are going to launch it, approval in India in a private sector. And in a private sector, I think there is no reason. If it was not possible, they would not have applied for it. The very fact Pfizer has applied, and every day we are listening to the report from the DCGI under consideration. Otherwise, they would have rejected it like an election in IMA. If you are ineligible, you are rejected same way. You never say under consideration. If you are ineligible, you are not even on the very first day when we do a scrutiny, you say you are ineligible. Similarly here, if they are ineligible, they would have said ineligible.
I think what it is Anita, we have to look at different things now, and you can, as an expert, can suggest that, you see, for Bharat Biotech, as I was telling, phase 1 had 375 people, 300 in the intervention group, 75 in the control group. They cut down the phase 2 to only few hundred people. And Gagandeep Kang herself, she remarked that when phase 1 basically is meant for safety, and you can recruit up to 60 individuals, but they recruited up to more than 300 individuals. So phase 2 has been cut down. Now we have gone to phase 3 looking for 26,000 individuals. And I had a talk with AIMS, which is one of the trial sites. Now you see the people are knowing that with the media being very strong, they said that the vaccine is going to come soon. So they are finding difficult to recruit the volunteers because they do not know they are going to be in which arm. Like when we looked at the health minister of Haryana, we also, initially the thought was whether it has been the vaccine or the placebo has been given to him, because it's a double blinded thing, and ideally he's not supposed to know, and we are supposed to follow like any other individual both the arms. So that is where I feel that people are cutting short, and this is also the problem, that based on the clubbing of this whole that one phase 2, phase 3, we can come out with the safety part, and we can look at, because if we don't get 26,000 individuals, it's a good vaccine and all that we up till now which is proved. But then another thing which we need to make sure is that the regulators ask for the documents, then only phase 1 in cases of biotech was declared, and it was released it in the form of a published article. So I think transparency and publications are very, very important from the perspective of when we are looking at, different vaccines.
Thanks, Sunila. Peer-reviewed publications, to be precise. And I think there'll be more than one vaccine in the market, because one vaccine will not suffice. Now, when there are more than one vaccine, how does the government's policy come out? I have no idea. So if someone could tell me.
I think at the moment, we have 3 vaccines in the pipeline to be considered. Pfizer, and then we have Bharat Biotech, and we have Oxford. We require 2 vaccines, one live and one killed in any way, because killed vaccine will be for immunocompromised, and a live, it's a cold live attenuated vaccine you require for immunocompetent people. So as far as my little experience goes, the inactivated vaccines have been tried in China after phase 2. Now they have data of 10 million people who have been given the vaccine, 10 million people who have been given the vaccine in August. So now we have 3 months data available on them that this is safe. Similarly, now UAE has approved the inactivated vaccine, and the vaccination is going on. I don't find any reason for the government not to consider the phase 2 results, and whatever data is available till today, out of these 26,000 cases, even if a data of 6,000 is available today, as per international standards, they can give a EUA and give a regular approval when the data of 26,000 is available. And even if they are not getting the cases, who stops them from reducing from 26,000? Behave like China. Give it to the people who are willing to take it and see the data. I mean, you have to modify your strategy according to the need. This is an inactivated vaccine, not, see, remember inactivated vaccine, less antigenic, more safety. But it can still cause a viral illness, but mild. Suppose a person who gets the coronavirus is going to develop severe brain syndrome, suppose active virus, the dead virus will cause it, in if it develops a special disease, it will be much milder. So I don't think so there is any reason for government not to consider and passing. If I was at the helm of the affairs, I would have recommended this vaccine should have been included and declared on 15th of August for the public. We would have had a bridging vaccine. These are bridging vaccines. Till an effective vaccine is available, next year you can change. So this vaccine, I don't think so is going to be an annual vaccine forever. But for a bridging pandemic situation, inactivated vaccines are the best. That's my personal opinion. Anita ji can correct me.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
I totally agree with you. And to be frank, in the phase 3 trials, it's the biotech group who have actually taken the maximum amount of people into their group. The other people have taken much lesser in India. So I totally agree with you. And I don't know whether IMA can talk about this and say that both the inactivated and the AstraZeneca or whatever the vaccine can come into the market together. So if this can be done through IMA, I don't know whether there are any technicalities in it.
But Anita, I think we should not be influencing the regulators. Let them take their own this thing, so that, that is also another thing which is associated with vaccine hesitancy. So let the whole thing be approved, in a very transparent manner. And I feel that the hush hush is also leading to, vaccine hesitancy in the minds of people. Because you see, there are a lot of intellectuals who come out with different, statements, and that's one of the things where I think waiting for 1 month will not lead to much of a difference. As it is, we are on the decline. If you see the whole situation, we are already on the decline part. So it will be something like, H1N1 thing, by the time the thing came in, we were already protected with herd immunity and all. So, and another thing which I'm talking is also that, different vaccines under UIP also have gone through the same thing, vaccine hesitancy and all of that. But ultimately, we waited for the safe vaccine because we are dealing with the children. Right now, also, we see few adverse events following immunization. But idea is to, as a public health person, I see that vaccine hesitancy should not, be created by kind of rapidly hushing through everything. If we can have proper results which can be made transparent and have a proper scientific approval.
Agreed. I really hope your words are come true. Predictions regarding nothing happening in Jan and Feb and the cases coming down. And yeah, 1 month wait would not matter.
The cases, I slightly want to caution on what is happening in South Africa and England. The new 501 strain of virus, if it comes in India, to the naive population of around 30% who have still not been infected, we can see a secondary rise of those cases who have not suffered from today, because we still have 30% of the population who is uninfected. So that new virus is very rapidly progressive. So I particularly feel is that India should finish its vaccination to 30% of the population by 25th of March. That's my personal thing, is that by 25th of March. So if they, suppose they include Moderna or vaccine Pfizer, that will go to the private sector. I don't think the government is going to buy it. So that will be decided by the experts and the public. So these are the public who is at the moment going to England and USA. I have lots of friends who are planning their vacation. Then they are talking to the crews, and the crews are telling them, we'll give you the first vaccine. It's a 1 month cruise. We'll give you the first vaccine, and when you come back, we'll give you the second vaccine, and your tour is covered with the cost of the vaccine. So there are people who will be spending a lot of money in getting mRNA vaccine. For mRNA vaccine should be available in private sector at the risk of the company who wants to introduce, at the cost what they want to confer it to the people. But then there are people who can afford and who will like to take that. Rest 2 vaccine in India, both the vaccines should be available in India procured by the government. And if we wait for another 3 months, you will end up into a herd immunity in any way. If you develop that 501 strain comes in India, there will be another 20% people will get the infection, and you will get the herd immunity in any way. So in India, we expect only 1 spike, and the second spike will only come with 501. So to prevent that 501, we need to take precautions.
Sir, as you are saying that private sector can have this Pfizer vaccine or Moderna vaccine, so Pfizer is actually, they are using in London and everywhere. Sir, when we can get in India?
So Pfizer has applied for it. It means they are willing to launch it in India. Otherwise, Pfizer would not have applied it. See, Pfizer also have to make money. Every country is buying the product at a throwaway prices because of the numbers. So Pfizer also have to make money. For individual cases, they will make the money. Profits will come when they sell it in the private sector.
Yeah. Only issue is the cold storage part. That's the major thing.
That they will do it. That is the duty of the Pfizer to do it. So Pfizer will make sure that they open their cold chain. They will do it. When they are charging for it, they will make sure that they have a center in every state, and they have places where people can give it. I don't think so. That will be the responsibility of the company.
See, $40 is not a very expensive thing.
It's not $40. In India, it will become much more with the cold storage facility.
Yeah.
See,
but
when
I
the company,
think
when the
we
company
need to look. Yeah.
Yes.
We have to look from the research perspective. Wherever we have -70 or we have the dry ice kind of. So, our private sector also is now into research. So kind of, we can see that bodies like IMA and all can provide the provisions for the cold chain as well. If the company is not, because we have to look at the nationwide demand of even private practitioners also, which are there. So we have to look at that number also.
Agreed.
The government has to come out in this critical situation, because they were ready to give capping for everything. Even the strength which is needed for important cases, they are having a capping. And why not the government, with all its power, come out with a capping system and say a uniform standard? See, otherwise the problem will put on only doctors. They say doctors are charging more. Doctors are charging more for the vaccination. So we do not want to take into that situation where We will only request the government to come out the uniform standard and uniform capping for the vaccinations.
So what will happen now is, because you are at the mercy of Pfizer, they will say we will not launch it. If you know, if you are not allowing us to charge our money, they will say we will not bring it, because every country is asking for it. They are in anyway in a short supply. So I don't think so. If the government caps it, their answer will be very clear. Thank you very much. We will launch it in Pakistan. We will launch it in Bangladesh. Then your people will go to Bangladesh and get it done and come back. So at this moment, see, I talked to many of the health authorities. And I said, how do you negotiate your price to buy the vaccine in the government sector? That thing came when I was the president of IMA, and I spoke to one of the health official in the health ministry. And there the vaccine, for the flu vaccine they were buying was 40 rupees. They were buying it at 40 rupees or something like that. In the market, it was 400 rupees. They says, we negotiate for a lump sum, and then we ask them to charge extra in the private sector. So then in the private, suppose they make it 1,000 rupees, then the same vaccine will be brought by the government at a much lower price. The same thing happened in Ahmedabad when it came to COVID studies. So they said, suppose Ahmedabad said our charges are 5,000 per day. So they says fix up 50% of the beds at 2,500, and rest 50% instead of 5,000 you charge 7,500. So you cover that 2,500 from there. So that's how government negotiates. So government also negotiates to reduce their cost, and then they say in a private sector you charge 2,500 extra. So that is going to be allowed, because if the company say that when the hospital said that I cannot afford a patient for less than 500, government says I cannot afford more than 2,500. Okay, you charge 2,500 extra from the rich pays for the poor. So if that policy is not there, no company will come. So therefore, Pfizer and Moderna will come as a rich paying for the poor.
Yeah, I agree, because Sanofi vaccine for flu is above 1,200 rupees, Sanofi vaccine. And in the market, it's about 1,500. Similarly, pneumococcal vaccine, Pfizer, the Prevnar, that is for 3,000 plus, 3,400, 500. If people are taking that, the 23 valent is even more costly. So if people are taking those vaccines, this COVID vaccine would definitely be cheaper.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Dr. Jailal, this vaccine, because because of my husband being in pediatrician, and I talked to him about, the cost varies from practitioner to practitioner also. That is also there. It's not that, ex-pediatrician is charging 1,500 for that. The Y will also charge the same. It's not like that. So the capping is right now also not there for, unless the patient gets the vaccine and then, he tells the doctor to do that. But then again, we are at the mercy of, compromising or we are compromising the cold chain also. So somewhere we have to see this also. Are we capping the vaccines which are available today? That is not being done as of now. So this is the issue, because they are getting everyday new vaccines. And now, another vaccine under consideration is HPV, which has to be a part of UIP. But, it's available.
Why doctors charge much more higher than the cost of the vaccine is because they are also taking the risk of anaphylaxis. If a patient dies, they are also taking a huge risk.
Absolutely.
So every vaccine can have side effects. So a doctor may say, I'll charge 5,000 rupees for this injection because if you file a case against me, you will file 5 crores if something happens to this. So therefore, putting up see, one thing this virus has taught us that pathological testing and sampling are separately chargeable, which I was talking 3 years back when this was a practice in UK. And now everywhere in India, sampling will be a separately charged than collection, because government is allowing that if you do a home collection, sampling charges 400 rupees extra. So sampling now will become a separate chargeable material than other things. Similarly, in vaccination, there will be 2 charges, cost of the vaccine and cost of the vaccine giving. Depending upon whom you want to, where you want to, what risk you want to, they can charge any amount of money.
I think the principle of cross subsidy is not very well accepted previously by charges of action can be cross subsidized. Questions to be answered, and I think many of our members who are attending this meeting, Sri Ashok Gupta, Dr. Alex Thomas, Dr. Rai, Ida Gupta have not commented. If any of you have to have a short.
Dr. Ashok Gupta.
I really enjoy the discussion, but my point is the risk involved with the vaccination and the vaccine process. And as you rightly said, who is going to be protected and who is going to cover that cost of litigation and risk which is being provided? And it's a very valid point. If there is an element of allergic reaction, anaphylactic reaction, that has to be made very clear. The person who is giving vaccine is partly responsible, and the manufacturer and the company also should share the cost of any litigation of this thing. I think very important.
I think in an EUA, and when the government very clarifying it is optional, there is a consent automatically. If the patient is coming, there is a consent involved. And in an EUA, it is always take it or leave it. So therefore, I don't think so litigations will happen in an EUA. So I spoke to my brother-in-law, and he very clearly said that I don't think so courts are that this will be a problem of, because then everybody will come back and file a complaint. So that is not going to be an issue against litigations with that.
Dr. KK.
Dr. Alex,
Dr. KK.
Dr. Rai.
Just now, Dr. Gupta was saying that who will bear the cost of the litigation and others. As far as to my knowledge, and indemnity has been given to the Pfizer and Moderna because they applied for this thing. They have been given indemnity. If any adverse reaction comes from the vaccine, they will not be prosecuted at all. So now it is in the hands of the person who is giving and the person who is taking the vaccine. So the companies are not going to be sued. They got a indemnity from the America and from the Europe also. So that question has gone. And the only problem will come if a doctor is giving this injection, he will have to cover everything. If, by the way, some allergic reaction comes, he will have to manage. If anaphylactic patient goes in anaphylactic shock, he will have to manage. So these things one has to take in the consideration. Second thing, my concern was, just now I have seen one pamphlet roaming in the social media in which the dean of the KEM hospital has given the statement that I'm not in a hurry of taking this vaccination. So Dr. Agarwal, you are very right. You are told that we should come forward and get vaccinated. We should become the leader of that one. Similarly, statement has been given by some Bombay hospital doctors also. There are 4 doctors. One pamphlet is moving in the social media. I think they should come forward, not to advocate such things in the market, in the social media also.
So therefore, I request all of us who are meeting this, I pass a resolution that vaccine is your personal choice. If you don't want to take it, don't talk about it. But if you are taking it, project it, that I have taken it. That should be very clear into the statement. Then I come back to Alex. You want to say something?
Thanks, KK, and good morning to all of you. I think 2 very important points. One is this apprehension regarding the vaccine among the community and especially among our medical professionals. And I think we need to be proactive because this is going to save lives. And as was suggested by all of you, if you don't agree with it, keep quiet. But I think we need to promote this because it is going to save lives and help what we are doing. The second point is, I think I'd agree with Jailal. I think we need to bring it to the notice of the government that you cannot focus only on the health sector and cap prices. Vaccines, I think because of the situation, they may not be in a position to cap because it's coming from outside, but I think they need to use the same yardstick. And we can use this as one of our arguments with them. We are engaging with the government regarding this capping and the CGHS, etc. I think this is a good point for argument. But having said that, I think it should be made available and affordable to everybody and not only to those who can afford it. Thank you.
Before I ask Jai Kishan to sum up, I want to say is that all of you are aware, within the same platform, we have inaugurated a mediation cell under Heart Care Foundation of India. So kindly use that cell. It's an independent body where mediation can be done of all medical legal cases. So we are trying to, because now consumer has also allowed, High Court is also promoting mediation. So our legal cell, we have created a fully fledged, we are in process of expanding it much more. So all your legal dispute can be settled if they require any mediation. This is an independent body whose job is to mediate and settle the things much earlier before it goes into a litigation. So I'll expect Dr. Jayakrishan to sum up and propose a vote of thanks.
KK sir, only one question
Yes.
I just want to ask. Jayakishan, suppose a
Yes, sir.
person
Yes, sir. Please.
comes and says, I have taken a Pfizer vaccine, I have taken a Moderna vaccine, I have taken a Sputnik vaccine, and he says multiple vaccine. What will be there? Because our the people's mindset is that it's all a different vaccines, so I will get 100% by using 3 vaccines.
So as on today, the data which has come today is that such types of vaccinations, no trial has been done. So therefore, we cannot, as a doctor, we cannot recommend it. If you are taking it, you are taking it on your own risk. Nobody should say as a doctor, take it, then nothing will happen. So as on today, there is no data available. But yes, people will take, because this question has come by the Sputnik people who told Oxford that you give your first vaccine, let people take second my vaccine. That's how people take. But as on today, as a medical professional, we will say not recommended. Take it on your own risk. Yes.
So it was a very good discussion over here regarding few of the important points. One is how to overcome vaccine resistance. Another thing is we have to have protocols at the national level regarding administration of vaccines by the government and also regarding private sector, how it can be priced, whether cross subsidy is applicable, and how to manage complications, who will be responsible. Many of the things are still unanswered, but we are very much have a consensus that we should all try to overcome the vaccine resistance, and vaccine is very important tool in management of COVID. And I thank all the participants, and I extremely profusely thank Dr. K.K. Agarwal for organizing this CME on the behalf of Heart Care Foundation of India. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back next
Thank
week,
you, everyone.
next Saturday. That will be the day after Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.